Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is actually a quick update around Marcus Meechan, aka Count Dankula, and his free speech situation. We talked about him earlier this week. Of course, he's had 2 years of legal battle. He posted a joke video where he was turning his girlfriend's dog into a Nazi to ruin the dog for his girlfriend. He was arrested, there was a threat of real jail time, and he was found guilty of committing a hate crime. And earlier this week, he ended up receiving a sentence of 800 pounds. Now, while some people saw him not serving jail time as a victory, there were still those saying it's incredibly concerning. It is a huge problem that he was found guilty. Some people even speculating that the only reason he didn't receive jail time was because there was so much heat on this story. There was so much press involved. So next time, maybe that's not the case. So Marcus Meechan announced that he is going to appeal his guilty verdict. And along with that, he launched a GoFundMe for 100,000 pounds, saying this is the amount that has been quoted by my lawyer. The reason it has been quoted so high is my lawyer wishes to bring in top legal representatives to ensure that we have the highest chance of reversing the standard that this case sets, adding I cannot allow the 2 years of litigation I went through and having my life put on hold to happen to anyone else. I will be 100% transparent with these funds. All bills in regards to the case will be made publicly available. And in just one day, he reached and passed his goal. And what I will say in regards to this story, 1, Marcus, I'm going to support you with this. And 2, I'm also going to include a link down below because while Marcus is referring to the 100,000 pounds as a lot of money, and it is, if you've ever talked to someone that has had a massive legal battle, you know that it can become far more expensive than this. And I'm more than happy to put my own dollars and probably more importantly, my push behind hopefully preserving freedom of speech, hopefully making context matter. We'll have to wait and see, and I wish you the best. Then let's talk about a bunch of small stories about the YouTube space. Earlier this week, YouTube announced that in the last quarter of last year, they deleted 8.3 million videos. These videos, they say, violated their community guidelines. Also clarifying in a blog post, the majority of these 8 million videos were mostly spam or people attempting to upload adult content and represent a fraction of a percent of YouTube's total views during this time period. Then getting even more detailed, saying 6.7 million were first flagged for review by machines rather than humans, and of those 6.7 million videos, 76% were removed before they received a single view. Now, in my eyes, this could just have been a blog post that they were scheduling out, but based on the timing of this post, specifically how close it is to the CNN story that we covered earlier this week, it feels like a response to that with them saying that, you know, we are working very, very hard, especially since you can then pair that to new news today that the CEO of YouTube is set to host a conference call with top advertisers, top advertising agencies to talk about brand safety concerns. And it will be interesting to see how things pan out here because as we've kind of seen in the past, when one mainstream outlet takes aim at YouTube, it often comes in a wave. Also kind of connected to this, we've seen stories popping up more and more in the news that top networks for YouTubers are dropping YouTubers at massive levels. One of the most recent to pop up was the network Fullscreen, which reportedly removed around 160 partners. A creator who goes by D6 Comedy shared an email from Fullscreen that stated, due to YouTube's modifications to its partnership program and implementation of stricter content guidelines, we're required to restructure our network to ensure conformity. As a result, channels are being removed from the Fullscreen network because they no longer meet YouTube's qualifications or the content on the removed channels no longer complies with YouTube's service and community standards. Adding, unfortunately, this is a very sudden decision that comes from YouTube and is out of our control. But also, according to the report later, Fullscreen then released a different email. They adjusted it, saying the initial email was inaccurate as far as YouTube's role in this decision. The updated email now saying, due to the nature of your uploads and because your uploads may potentially infringe on the right of others or potentially violates applicable laws or regulations, including, without limitation, YouTube's terms of service and or YouTube's community guidelines, we feel it best that we part ways. Thank you for your understanding and good luck with your YouTube channel. And my personal takeaway is really the only difference between those emails is the first one feels like a lawyer talking to his buddy, and the other one sounds like a lawyer talking in court. And finally, we had a YouTuber pop up in the news for not a bad reason about that YouTuber, which was refreshing. The fantastic MKBHD was blowing up on social media because he called out Gal Gadot. My pal Gal, she tweeted out a video which was an ad saying, say hello to my new mate, hashtag Huawei Mate 10 Pro.
Somehow, when I take photos with this camera, they turn out better than with any other camera.
And MKBHD simply pointed out that Gal Gadot, or whoever runs her social media account, because a lot of those people don't handle their own stuff, they posted out this ad for Huawei on an iPhone. So it looked like another massive celebrity supporting a product they don't actually use. Which I mean would be completely shocking and devastating. Next thing you're gonna say, all those people advertising stuff on their Instagram stories unenthusiastically, they don't use those things as well? Ultimately, Gal, or whoever runs her social media, ended up deleting that post, then posting a video again, this time from an Android device, although not with hashtag ad on it. Which some people have argued it turns that tweet into an ad violation. That's that. But from that, I wanna share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome brought to you by Square Squarespace. Whether you want a domain, an online store, a website, make it with Squarespace. It's so easy to make a beautiful website with their intuitive all-in-one platform. You've got nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. If it wasn't simple enough, they have award-winning 24/7 customer service. So if you want to make the smart move like many from the nation already have, go to squarespace.com/Phil, start your free trial, and when you really like it, make sure you use offer code Phil for 10% off your first purchase. And the first bit of awesome isn't a video, it's just we got the news, and I hope it's great. We got the news that Nickelodeon is reviving Double Dare. And my response to this is yes, please. Double Dare is, according to my romanticized memory, it was one of the best game shows on television, up there with Legends of the Hidden Temple. And so hopefully I'm not remembering wrong, and hopefully this new thing doesn't suck. Then we had a trailer for Smallfoot. Then we got a trailer for Dear White People Volume 2, which you might enjoy for one of two reasons. Either you're a fan of the movie, season 1, or you just want to check out what the hell that comment section's gonna look like. Then the man that inspired me and so many others, a man by the name of Zay Frank, posted his first video, and I don't even know how long it's been. It's a continuation of his old series, True Facts. We've got a bunch of videos of the cast of Avengers doing stuff. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything I talked about today, links as always are in the description down below. Then in technology is awesome, impressive, but also scary news. Let's talk about the hackers who created a master key to get into millions of hotel rooms. Reportedly, the electronic lock system at the center of this story is known as Vision by Vingcard. It's built by the Swedish lock manufacturer Asa Abloy, and it is used in 42,000 properties in 166 countries. And it's likely that if you've gone to a hotel, you've most likely used a security card like this. They're the kind of cards that get you into your room, they get you to certain floors at the hotel. And some security researchers figured out how to exploit flaws in the system. And according to the report, they can do it with pretty much any card. According to the report, even old and expired or discarded keys retain enough residual data to be used in the attack. Then, using a handheld device running custom software, the researchers can steal data off a key card, either using RFID or the magnetic strip. That device then manipulates the stolen key data, which identifies the hotel, to produce an access token with the highest level of privileges, essentially making a master key to every room at that hotel. Now, there is good news and bad news with this situation. One, according to the researchers, this took them over a decade to do, although one of them did say that if someone were to focus on this full time, they could do it considerably faster, but also adding, we don't know of anyone else performing this particular attack in the wild right now. Also, before going fully public with this story, they worked with the lock manufacturer, they let them know what happened, and so that made it so the company could release a patch to fix the flaws. But, a lot of buts in this story. Reportedly, the software is only patched at their central server, and each lock has to have its firmware updated. It requires someone to physically be at each individual lock at each of those 42,000 locations. And as of this report coming out today, it wasn't exactly clear how many hotels have actually put the patch in place. Now keep in mind, I'm not just trying to make you fearful here. One, I just think this is very interesting, and two, maybe just to make yourself feel better, if you don't already, just always use that hotel deadbolt. Side note, if you stay at a hotel that does not have a deadbolt at the top, 100% of the time someone is going in there while you're sleeping, and they're using your stuff and they're smelling your hair. It's just a scientific fact that I made up right now, and I'm putting out to over 1 million people. So let's get that trending on Facebook. I gotta start getting those fake news on Facebook views. Then, you're not gonna believe this, for some reason, Donald Trump is in the news again. Who would have guessed? Lots of activity. The first thing, it's kind of a lighter to the side thing, is that the New York Times has reportedly come into possession of an audio recording of NFL owners talking about Donald Trump. You most likely know about the Kaepernick story, the NFL kneeling situation, Donald Trump's reaction to it, his supporters' reaction to it. Well, according to the report, there were around 30 NFL players, executives, owners. They met at the league headquarters in October, and there are some interesting quotes that were recorded. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, who of course has been a friend and supporter of Donald Trump, said, "This kneeling, the problem we have is we have a president who will use that as fodder to do his mission that I don't feel is in the best interests of America. It's divisive and it's horrible." Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie reportedly saying, "We've got to be careful not to be baited by Trump or whomever else." And you can really see some of the owners fearful of Donald Trump. Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula saying, "All Donald needs to do is to start to do this again. We need some kind of immediate plan because of what's going on in society. All of us now, we need to put a band-aid on what's going on in the country." Adding, "To me, this is like a glacier moving into the ocean. We're getting hit with a tsunami." And so to all of this, I say the fear aspect, not really that surprising. If you imagined what was happening behind the scenes, it probably looked like that. But the main shocking thing would be Robert Kraft's response. But I would want to hear the audio, because it appears that there have been different understandings of what Kraft said. Some saying when he said divisive and horrible, he's referring to what Trump is using by using the situation as fodder. Others saying without hearing it all together, he could be referring to the kneeling, the whole situation. So that part I find interesting. There's also some Trump news that it doesn't even really need a deep dive after you watch today's video. Just go to Kanye's tweets. Kanye West recently recently came back to Twitter, and some of his fans are not happy with some of the stuff that he's posting, some of which includes positive tweets about President Trump. And he has shown his support in a variety of ways. At one point, when referencing Donald Trump, he wrote, "We are both dragon energy. He is my brother." Although if you really want to just scroll through some chaos, he posted a picture of himself in a MAGA hat, another of a signed MAGA hat with a ton of fire emojis. The President of the United States has also responded, quote tweeting Kanye's dragon energy tweet and saying, "Thank you, Kanye. Very cool." So that is also a thing that's happening right now. But then let's talk about Donald Trump's Secretary of Veteran Affairs problem. So if you don't remember, Trump nominated Ronny Jackson to be the next Secretary of Veteran Affairs after David Shulkin left amid improper spending allegations. This is a really interesting nomination because Jackson is currently the White House physician. Specifically, he became a White House physician in 2006, became physician to the president in 2013. He also achieved the rank of Rear Admiral in the Navy, and he was also previously an emergency medicine physician in Iraq during the Iraq War. Jackson is also a relative outsider in that his policy views are mostly unknown. We had also seen criticism of Jackson in the past because he was the person to announce the results of Trump's first physical while in office. But at the same time, you also had former members of the Obama administration saying, no, Jackson's great. Well, the whole situation drastically changed as of Monday. On Monday, reports began to emerge that Jackson was facing allegations that could derail his confirmation hearing. So what are the allegations? What is being reported? Well, 1, that he oversaw a hostile work environment as White House physician. 2, he overprescribed drugs. And 3, he drank on the job. Now, as far as the specifics that were being leaked to the media, as far as hostile work environment, according to AP, a 2012 Navy Medical Inspector General report found poor morale in the White House medical unit. Jackson and another physician by the name of Jeffrey Coleman reportedly were jockeying for power. The working environment was described as, quote, being caught between parents going through a bitter divorce, and there is a severe and pervasive lack of trust in the leadership that has deteriorated to the point that staff walk on eggshells. And that report also recommended that Jackson, Coleman, or both be replaced. Senator John Tester of the Veteran Affairs Committee also spoke to NPR saying, "We were told stories where he was repeatedly drunk while on duty, where his main job was to take care of the most powerful man in the world. That's not acceptable." Regarding the overprescription of drugs, the Washington Post, speaking with 2 former colleagues of Jackson, is reporting that he was nicknamed, quote, the Candy Man. This because of how freely he distributed medication. And the medication that people have been talking about has been used to promote sleep or wakefulness on long trips. So the allegations essentially being that he was freely handing out Provigil and Ambien to people. As far as drinking on the job, according to aides for Senator Tester, on a trip during Obama's presidency, White House staff needed to reach Jackson, but they ended up finding him passed out in his hotel room after drinking. 4 sources also reportedly telling CNN that in 2015, Jackson banged on the hotel room of a female employee while intoxicated. One source saying that it was so noisy that Secret Service had to intervene. And the senators of the recommending Veteran Affairs Committee are taking these allegations very seriously and have postponed his hearing indefinitely. It was scheduled to happen today. It is not happening. And these senators reportedly interviewed around 20 people who had worked with Jackson. Senators Johnny Isakson, the Republican chairman, and John Tester, the top Democrat, issued a joint statement saying, "We take very seriously our constitutional duty to thoroughly and carefully vet each nominee sent to the Senate for confirmation. We will continue looking into these serious allegations." Then on Tuesday, we saw the 2 senators also issuing a statement requesting the White House provide a slew of information dating as far back as 2006. We then saw the White House and Donald Trump respond to this situation. Spokesman for the White House, Hogan Gidley, issuing a statement praising Jackson, saying, "Admiral Jackson's record of strong, decisive leadership is exactly what's needed at the VA to ensure our veterans receive the benefits they deserve." We also saw Trump speak on the topic yesterday when he had a joint press conference with French President Emmanuel Macron. And what he said made it feel like the Jackson nomination was going to die.
I told Admiral Jackson just a little while ago, I said, what do you need this for? This is a vicious group of people.
He then hit a note that seemed to be around the criticism of Jackson's inexperience.
And as far as experience is concerned, the Veterans Administration, which is approximately 13 million people, is so big, you could run the biggest hospital system in the world, and it's small time compared to the Veterans Administration. So nobody has the experience.
Then going on to say that he supports Jackson, but if he put himself in his shoes, he wouldn't go through with it.
I would definitely stand behind him. He's a fine man. If I were him, actually, in many ways, I'd love to be him. But the fact is, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I really don't think personally he should do it, but it's totally his. I would stand behind him, totally his decision.
Now, following this, Jackson ended up meeting Trump at the White House, and it appears that Jackson has decided to continue moving forward with the nomination. And since then, even more so than before, the White House has come out supporting him. Sarah Huckabee Sanders also had a press conference today where she came out in defense of Jackson. Regarding his background, she says that there have been 4 independent background checks on him, and he's come up clean. This including an FBI investigation. When asked whether the White House was aware of any of the allegations against him before the nomination, she said nothing came up from those 4 separate investigations. investigation. As far as when the most recent background check was, she said that it was when Trump took office. The White House also releasing information that showed Obama praised Jackson in 2016, reportedly saying Ronnie does a great job, genuine enthusiasm, poised under pressure, incredible work ethic, and follow-through. Mark Short, Trump's top legislative affairs aide, saying he felt the allegations were politically motivated, that it was unfair that he was being dubbed the Candyman, saying every year the Department of Defense comes in, they do a review of the White House physician's office on things like prescription, and every year they have said that he is in total compliance with what he has been prescribing. And there are also positive accounts of Jackson from former officials. The AP reporting that one official that was familiar with the 2012 Inspector General report that we talked about earlier said a 2013 assessment said the office environment had improved. By that time, the rival Dr. Coleman had left. Obama's chief of staff for National Security Council saying he doesn't recall Jackson drinking to excess, adding, "I'm not even sure that I ever saw him in a hotel bar." David Axelrod, a senior advisor to Obama, saying he always seemed to be alert, responsive, responsible. "My impressions were positive, my interactions were positive, I never heard any complaints." Now, all of that said, a note that I do want to hit on is there are still allegations coming out. In fact, a document compiled by the Democrats on the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee was just released. One of the allegations being that Jackson crashed a government vehicle while drunk. According to the AP, Ronnie Jackson denies this. Because this is coming out just as the show is ending, I'll link to the document down below, and we'll talk about it either Thursday or Friday. And so that's where we are as of right now. Now, what'll be really interesting to watch is how this moves forward. Because this is the new focus around Ronnie Jackson, it fears that part of the conversation that it will fall off is that Ronnie Jackson does not have the experience of running a group this big. He currently has a staff of 70. When you're talking about the VA, you're talking about 360,000-ish employees, right? And they're serving millions and millions of veterans, right? So instead of the conversation being about Ronnie Jackson's managerial experience and expertise, it's becoming more about him as a person. And if he's able to deflect on at least one of the three things that he's being accused of, I think he could honestly be fine, right? As far as hostile work environment, if you have think of like two heads of a group. They don't get along, they think their way is right or the other person is horrible, right? There's gonna be internal conflict, internal politics, and then that person is gone. As far as overprescribing drugs, the details that we've seen so far involve people on these massive long trips where they're on a plane for 13 hours, right? So the doctor on board wants the representatives of the country who are on this massive flight to be able to sleep when they can and then be up when they need to be up, right? And that's also an interesting situation because it makes you believe that if he's being referred to as the Candyman, then this was also used and exploited by the Obama administration. The only defenses there is that he never did anything, or you could say that all of a sudden because President Trump became president, he was like, oh, new rules, I can do whatever. That doesn't make sense because the allegations go back. But ultimately, I think the most harmful allegation is the idea that he was drunk on the job, right? If you have someone that has a heavy drinking problem or they're getting trashed and they're blacking out and their job is to take care of the most important man in the world, can you then trust that person to properly handle an organization that is meant to help millions and millions of veterans? That said, we'll have to see how things continue, if more information comes out, if all of a sudden there's a lot more support. It's going to be interesting to watch. But with that said, I do want to pass the question off to you because this is the Philip DeFranco Show. It's the news, sometimes my opinion after, and then I want to hear from you, whether it be this last story, the first one, anything in between. Let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I'm trying to do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn notifications on. Also, if you missed yesterday's Philip DeFranco Show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want the newest behind the scenes vlog, you can click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.